In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the front wheel bearing on your Ford Focus. Let's get started. Using a 19mm socket, remove the 4 lug nuts. If your wheel is stuck on, leave 1 lug nut, thread it on. Using a saw face hammer, we're going to hit the rim on the back. Remove the wheel. Remove the lock clip for the brake hose. Using a pair of pliers, wiggle up, pull it out of the bracket. Using a 7mm hex head, we're going to remove the caliper bolts. There should be little caps in these rubber boots. If you have them, pinch the boot and pull it off, or use a flat blade screwdriver and pop it off. Using a flat blade screwdriver, we're going to pop the clip off the front of the caliper, pop it out on the bottom or the top, and then twist it out and remove it. Using a flat blade screwdriver, remove the caliper. Using a hook, hook onto there and suspend it from somewhere that hook the caliper hook somewhere where there's no tension hanging on the brake hose. Remove the brake pads. Using a 15mm socket, remove the caliper bracket bolts. Remove the caliper bracket. Remove the rotor. If your rotor's stuck on, put 1 lug nut on. Using a saw face mallet, tap the back of the rotor. Remove the lug nut. Remove the rotor. Using a T50 bit, hold the head of the bolt while you use a 15mm socket to remove the nut. Using a hammer and a punch, I'm going to remove the bolt. Using a 16mm socket, remove the nut for the tie rod end. We're going to bonk the side of the knuckle where the tie rod end is sitting in to release the pressure. Pull the tie rod end out. Using a 32mm socket, remove the axle nut. Using a saw face hammer, we're going to make sure that the axle slides in and out in the splines. Using a pry bar with a hook attachment, I'm going to remove the ball joint out of the knuckle. Pry down and remove the ball joint. Using an 18mm socket, remove the knuckle bolt for the strut. Start to push the axle out of the hub. Using a saw face hammer, we're going to hit the top of the knuckle and pull it off of the strut. Pull the strut out of the knuckle, push the axle out of the hub. Pull the axle out and over to the side. Pull the knuckle off of the ball joint and remove it from the car. We're going to use 2 hammers, one with a cone. This cone is going to sit inside of the back of the hub. We're going to use our second hammer and hit the hub out of the knuckle. Before knocking this all the way out, if you're reusing the hub, you want to make sure we don't damage the studs at all. You can use a bungee cord and wrap it around to the knuckles so that when it pops out, it doesn't shoot, or you can use a bin, put it under it, and have it drop into the bin. Remove the hub. Using a cutoff wheel, we're going to cut off our inner race. We're going to get it pretty close, and then we're going to use a chisel and crack it and pull it off. When you're doing this, you do not want to score the hub at all. Taking a chisel, we're going to hit it with a hammer, split the race, slide it off. We're going to take a piece of emery cloth and clean up the surface of this hub. Using a pair of snap ring pliers, remove the snap ring out of the knuckle. Remove the snap ring. With our piece set up in the press, we're going to press out the wheel bearing. Remove the wheel bearing from the knuckle. If you have ABS on your car, this is going to be our tone ring. You want to make sure this is facing our sensor. It's going to go face up. Install the bearing, making sure you're only grabbing on the outside edge. Install the bearing until it bottoms out. Install the snap ring. We're going to press the hub into the knuckle. Press in the hub until it bottoms out. And it's ready to go back onto the car. Ensure that the metal shim is on the ball joint before installing it into the knuckle. Install the axle. Install the strut. Install the bolt, get the nut started on the back side. Snug the bolt down. Install the bolt for the strut. Get it started by hand. Torque the strut pinch bolt to 111 foot-pounds. Torque the ball joint pinch bolt to 46 foot-pounds. Install the tie rod end. Get the nut started. Snug the tie rod nut down. Torque the ball joint nut to 26 foot-pounds. Install the axle nut. Snug it down. Torque the axle nut to 199 foot-pounds. Install the rotor backwards. Use a clean rag and some brake parts cleaner. Spray down the rag, wipe down the rotor. Flip it over. Do the same thing on this side. Install one lug nut to hold the rotor in place. Torque the caliper bracket bolts to 98 foot-pounds. Install a bleeder bottle hose. Using a 9mm wrench, open up the bleeder screw. Using a large pair of pliers, we're going to push the caliper back. Once your caliper is pushed all the way back, go ahead and close the bleeder screw. Get it nice and snug. Remove the bottle. Install the bleeder cap. We're going to pull our caliper down. We're going to install the piston side pad. Make sure it's fully seated inside of the cup. Install the outside pad into the bracket and install the caliper. Get the bolts in place, start them by hand. Snug them down. Torque the caliper bolts to 21 foot-pounds. Install the plastic caps if you have them. Install the locking clip for the caliper. Get this top installed first, and then the bottom. Remove the lug nut. If you used a hook to hang your caliper, go ahead and remove that now. Install the brake hose into the bracket. Install the clip. Install the wheel. Get the lug nuts started. Snug them down. Torque the lug nuts to 94 foot-pounds in a cross pattern.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.